Welcome to the Everything Is Earned podcast. I'm your host, Mike.
And I am Tim, your co-host.
And we are Everything Cleveland, as we've always explained. So, we're here on a Victory Monday. The Browns go in to First Energy Stadium and protect home field and get the W. Back-to-back home wins.
So yeah, only the second time this year. Was it 2-4 now on home?
It's about momentum, bro. You got to get that train going.
At home?
Get that train going. Obviously, the Browns go out and win 21-7. There was the whole Myles Garrett thing. We're just going to make a real quick touch on it, then we're going to move on.
You want to start with the good things or bad things first?
No, just a real quick thing about the Myles Garrett. So I'm going to get it out of the way. We all know what happened. We don't condone Myles Garrett's behavior. We think Mason Rudolph started things. We think he deserves a suspension. And
at least a fine. At least a heavy fine.
He's going to get hit with a fine, but a suspension would be lovely. And then
not lovely, but
I want him to play the next Browns game so we can
it would be valid. It would be valid.
Yeah, as long as he plays in 2 weeks from now, so the Browns can sack him again, that'd be wonderful.
Yes,
be very supportive of that. Anyways, so moving on to the other things that happened during the Browns game, i.e., the rest of the game, excluding that 8 seconds. So
the last 8 seconds.
So the Browns, they had kind of an up and down game in certain aspects of it. They looked very dominant in the first half. You jumped out to a 14-0 lead with pretty easy time. It wasn't terribly hard. The defense was locked in. Morgan Burnett had a very good game prior to being injured. They were getting in the passing lanes. They were getting pressure on Rudolph.
Joe Schobert, my boy, had a great game. Let me pull up the stats really quick. By Joe Schobert, I think he had. Let me double check.
He had 2 interceptions.
He did have 2 interceptions. He had 10 tackles, which is not surprising considering he's been in the top 5 tackle leader in the NFL all season. He's had 1 sack. He had 2 tackles for loss and 4 pass deflections. 4. That boy was all over the place. For as slow as he is, as you always say, he did pretty dang good yesterday.
They did have no
defensive MVP. He might even be in the game MVP. 2 interceptions out of the Browns 4. He's had a great game. Still building his Pro Bowl case for his 2nd straight, Mike.
Yeah,
that'll be second this year, not first.
Yeah, he had a really good game. I'm going to give him all the support and the love for that. Also, congratulations to Joe and his beautiful wife Megan. They are actually expecting a baby here. That they announced on their Instagram page. So,
congratulations!
Big congrats to the Schoberts here in Cleveland. So, very happy for them and wish them all the health and happiness with their family growing. So, great job by Schobert. I also liked
Denzel
Ward.
Another strong game.
He had that tip drill interception that was so cool. He flung his hand up there, popped that ball up, and then Morgan Burnett got under it and was able to.
That reminded me very much of Tashawn Gibson. His time with Whitner. In Cleveland, they did that quite a bit.
Spiked that up.
They had a good 6 or 7 game run. I think they had several of those tip drill interceptions.
I remember that defense because Whitner and Gibson were awesome together. That was a great combo. I was really kind of salty when Gibson left. They
didn't want to pay him.
He ended up having an okay career outside of Cleveland. But
went to Jacksonville.
Ultimately, he was a beast, and he was part of that really big shutdown defense they had a couple years back. He made a big
with Jacksonville and Ramsey and all them. Yeah,
he was part of that defense. I remember watching him at First Energy. It was a lot of fun. But tip drill was great. I was like, oh, tip drill interception. How good was that?
Those are one of my favorite plays defensively.
Yeah, I mean, when you practice that kind of stuff, you hope it comes into play during the game. And they were in the proper positions, and they were just able to make a play. And it was great that they both had the awareness to know what was going on.
That's what I think the biggest part is the football IQ of it. That's how you have those tip drill interceptions. You don't have it if you just have pure athleticism.
Yeah, you gave him the right spot, right time. So this is great.
I think about it in a moment. Okay, I have a teammate around me. I can maybe pop this up. And we did a turnover here.
Yeah, Ward's got just great instincts. Instead of batting it down, he went and popped it up, and it was just like, all right, this is sweet. Like that was a great job, great recognition, great execution. Just one of the more fun plays of the game, personally.
Greedy played well too, I thought. I mean, he had some penalties, but I'd rather cornerbacks play more aggressive than passive or a little bit shy.
I thought Greedy actually played mediocre at times. I thought he got beat bad a few times.
on
speed too. He was grabbed. He got away with one that was real egregious. Like he had wrapped his hand around him and held the dude's arm down, and it was like on like the 5-yard line. And they didn't give him the call.
Well, that kind of made up for the PI he had in the end zone. Well, he just kind of bodied him. He kind of got in his way a little bit.
There was when we stuck his hands straight up.
Yeah, it's almost fair game because you guys both have right to the ball.
They were picking on the Browns that one set because they gave them like 4 penalties in a row. They were like, "We got to keep the game interesting so that people don't turn it off." Like,
right, yeah,
and they did.
And the Browns did that too. I mean, I counted out from 5 minutes left in the second quarter all the way to midway through in the third quarter. The Browns had 8 scoreless possessions. There's a couple punts in there. There's 2 missed field goals. Actually, Austin Seibert's first 2 missed field goals all season.
Yeah, not a great game from Seibert. I don't know what the hell's happened with him.
But that he just, I think one of them was Dylan's fault for on the
placement,
on the ball placement, getting that down correctly. But yeah, not a good stretch when you had your defense have multiple interceptions, 4 interceptions this game, and the defense can't capitalize. You only end up with 21 points on the game.
Another big thing I noticed in the game was the Browns stadium, First Energy Stadium, was packed with majority of Browns fans.
Well, like we expected.
Great job. We called that one. We knew it was going to be a heavy Browns crowd. The fans showed up and supported. It seemed to be pretty loud in there, and they did a good job of helping us get the win.
And being quiet when we needed to be too.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, weird. It's like the quarterback talks and everyone listens. What's his face on the Steelers? He missed a kick early on because he's kicking into the dog pound. Kickers have been not doing very well recently, like with the kicking in the dog pound. Like they it's been really hard, and he shanked the biscuits out of the kick.
Well, I mean, we're very loud, so I don't think that helps. And kicking is all about timing. And if you don't have that, if you don't know when your holder or when your lawn snapper is going to get the ball to you, then it throws off your rhythm, your timing, and that messes up everything.
Yeah, I agree there. I think the Browns have done a nice job. The Browns fans have done a nice job disrupting kickers down the dog pound. So great job out of them, keeping the points down, keep making it difficult. I loved our defense on 4th down yesterday. The Browns' 4th down defense. They had some couple big stops, and I thought it was really excellent. The one was early in the game too.
Right?
Yeah, one was early in the game too. And I was actually at the bar with a couple people with my girlfriend, and there was some Steelers fans in there too, and they were talking all this junk. And it was nice to be able to be like, you guys could win this game if you had a quarterback. And we're like, we have a quarterback. And that was a little fun little back and forth. And they were like all hyped about this field goal, and they shanked it. And I was like, well, that's not how you want to kick a field goal. Like, and then next to me was this couple that one was a Browns fan, the other one was a Steelers fan. So he was giving her a really hard time, and it was just a lot of fun because we were just kind of going back and forth, and we got to be very positive with our Browns fandom. And the one thing that bothers me about Steelers fans, just real quick, the one thing that bothers me about Steelers fans is that you talk about the past, and we never like that's not what's going on.
We don't bring up the past. We don't talk about how we dominated you guys, and you were the laughing stock of the NFL. Up until finally, the 80s and 90s? For years. It was there for 35, 40 years of football, of your franchise. Yeah. And if we talk about past, we can talk about how we were champions for 10 or 12 straight years?
Yeah.
But we don't talk about that.
No, but this bugs me when I'm at a sports event and someone wants to talk about what happened last year or the years past or 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. You're not watching that game. You're in today's game. In today's game, we're winning 14-0. So, okay, cool. The only comeback you have is that you've been beating us for years. It's not relevant to the team I have on the field right now. The team we're fielding is not the team we've had in the past 20 years. So keep your comments related to today's game.
And it makes it more fun.
That's what we're talking about.
On both sides. That way you can have a fun discussion. It's respectful on both sides, and you talked about something that's relevant.
Yeah, I mean, when the Cavs were getting their butts kicked last year, and Colin Sexton was chucking up, nothing shots, and we had a horrible coach, and really no players at all.
It's a lot of dysfunction.
We weren't telling the Raptors fans like, hey, remember when LeBron beat you for 6 years? No, we're going, you guys are a good team this year. Hope you guys
beat the Warriors.
Hope you guys beat the Warriors. Yeah, we were being nice about it, and they're like, yeah, you guys have been beating this a long time since LeBron. But I was like, no. Like, I mean, we had our time, we had our opportunities. Like, this is where it's at. So, I always like to watch when I'm watching a game. My trash talk is today's relevance. If it's this season though, like
or into the future,
or the current season, like if the Steelers already beat us early in the season, I can totally understand if you want to talk junk about beating us, for a second time that season. That's fine, but keep it in the season. I'm keeping it in the season, and like I said earlier in the week, and on Twitter, I called the Browns winning this game. I said it was a lock to book it.
Oh, we both did.
Yeah,
that was on one of our weekly segments. It was about Biosal.
Probably. I said it was a lock like early, like Monday. I said Monday was a lock. I was like, this game's a wrap. Like in First Energy Stadium, coming off the Bills win with Mason Rudolph as a quarterback, it's a wrap.
And I think I agree with you when Mike Tomlin did some film on the Browns. We saw it just from halftime that he made some adjustments and you saw the Browns offense struggle a little bit. I think that'll be an interesting thing to look at come game 2.
I'll tell you again, Steelers game 2 is a wrap. They're gonna win the Steelers. We're gonna beat them second time.
What, just from what happened at the end of the game?
Oh yeah, Mason Rudolph, he's not good. He's not good. I don't believe in him as a quarterback. The Browns are gonna come out and smack the Steelers next game. I'm calling it a win right now. We're 2 weeks away. It's a win. It's a win. It is what it is. When you can see a team on the field and you look at their players, you look at their performance, you can see what they have out there. The Steelers just can't match up talent wise, and as long as you do enough to win, you have enough solid plays out there, you're gonna definitely beat the Steelers team. Like, they don't have any offense. Like, there's just no one that can score points in that team. So I said yesterday, the Browns score 20 points, it's over. Like, they're not gonna stop. They're not gonna score 20 points. They don't have the weapons to do so. Like, James Conner was out. Juju got out. Their second wide receiver got out. Washington or whatever the heck his name was. Washington Jones. I don't know, whatever his name was. He got knocked out.
Dante Washington?
Yeah.
Dante Johnson.
Yeah.
Dante Johnson.
Yeah, he was out because of the concussion. It's like you had no weapons. And you're not going to add any weapons because, the season's currently past the trade deadline, so you're not going to be any better than you were.
As long as the Browns defense stays healthy throughout the Miami Dolphins week,
and they just lost a lineman, they lost Pouncey. Like, it's a wrap.
Right? Yeah, he's gonna be out 3 games, so that's including the Browns game.
Yeah, including the Browns game. On the flip side, aren't you glad we have Jernard Avery?
Jernard Avery, yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
glad we tucked him away for later, so that when things happen and injuries occur and
this football happens,
you have another rotational guy to put right in there. I'm glad we stored him away, and he's going to plug and play. And when now that Garrett's out, you have another animal to put in there. Not obviously to Garrett's ability, but he's pretty good. He's a pretty good second-year player.
Okay, as we know, we traded Jernard Avery to the Eagles. But on a positive note of not a sarcastic sign, Chad Thomas, the guy that we kept.
Oh, he's been beastly.
He's had 2 sacks over the last 2 games.
He's
played well.
He's been a real animal. He's up there.
For the guy who we thought was a waste of a 3rd-round pick a couple years back, he's showed up nicely in place of Olivia Vernon.
Yeah, you're gonna have Vernon back for the Steelers game too, so you're gonna be okay. You're gonna throw Vernon on the left side, put Chad in the right. Still, it'll be just fine. I'm not too worried about it. Obviously, you're not getting the same kind of production without Garrett, but you gotta play the next man up mentality. And if we're gonna make this playoff push, we're not gonna miss it solely because we don't have Myles Garrett. I mean, obviously, Myles Garrett helps your team and makes a big difference.
He's an elite level player.
But you can do one of 2 things at this point. You're either gonna rally together, or you're going to split apart and you're going to throw away the season. And right now,
I don't think this Browns team is one to fall apart. We could have done it early on in the season when we went 2-6 in those first half of the season that
if you were going to fall apart,
tough.
It would have been last week. You would have fallen apart last week and you would have lost against the Bills. That would have been when you would have fell apart.
Yeah, and then the season would have been over.
But we're just not at that point right now. That's not where we're at. Okay, so do you think it's possible that the Browns can make the playoffs still? I mean, obviously, statistically, yes. But, like, after last night's events, are you sold on it? Or you feel less? I mean, after the game, the whole thing, as a collective experience, do you feel...
The entertainment experience that I had.
the NFL can't be mad. They've got all these ratings. Like, I mean, they suspended the player. It's like not necessarily bad press for them. Like, obviously, you don't want your players doing that nonsense. But like, how much ratings did you get? Like, a ton. How high are the ratings going to be for the next Pittsburgh Browns game?
Immensely high.
Super high.
That's one to look for just from the fighting standpoint. Is the Steelers' offensive line gonna fight with the Browns defense? Is Mason Rudolph gonna flip out again when someone hits him too hard?
Okay,
on the ground.
Hold on. We gotta definitely get a counter for how many times they showed the Myles Garrett hit for that broadcast. We're gonna sit there and count it out and see how many times it's shown.
Or how many times what's his face mentions it?
How many times? Joe Buck, whoever.
Joe Buck, yeah.
Whoever the hell they making the broadcast.
But let's lay down the facts. Myles Garrett's out indefinitely, at least till the end of the season. If playoffs happen, he'll probably be out for the playoffs. Larry Odunobi is out a one game that he's appealing.
He's gonna miss the Dolphins game. Big whoop.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. And then you have Pouncey out, I believe 3 games.
3 games, yeah.
So he'd be missing the
There's
Browns
supposed to be other players that are currently under review still
pending
for getting punishment. Well, it'd probably be fines for leaving the bench and probably for Mason Rudolph for being a total jerkwad.
Yeah, well, Odunobi got one game suspension. I think he shoved Mason Rudolph down.
Yeah.
But he did try to break it up after that.
So going back to my question, after the collective experience.
Okay, yeah, now that we have the facts, I do think it's possible. It goes back to fall in if you were to fall apart against Buffalo a couple weeks ago, it's a 6-2 Buffalo team. I just don't think I'm not sure if we're gonna have the pass rush to deal with Baltimore or to deal with another game against maybe Arizona Cardinals.
Could you give us a level of, like, percentage wise, what percent you think the Browns will make the playoffs? Like, how much percentage?
Am I giving you the percentage that, like,
out of 100?
ESPN rates them, or is this me?
This is you. You give us a percentage chance. What do you think the percent chances the Browns make the playoffs?
Okay, we are 4-6 now. We're 4-6.
Yep.
We played 10 games then. We have
6 left.
We're playing Miami, Baltimore, Bengals, and then Arizona, and then
Bengals twice.
Well, I'm saying in order.
No, in order it goes Dolphins,
Miami, Steelers,
Pittsburgh, Cardinals.
No. It goes Bengals, Cardinals.
Bengals, Cardinals,
and then probably Bengals again. And then I think Baltimore's the last game, right?
Baltimore is the very last game, which is crazy to me.
So I honestly like the way they scheduled that. It made for an epic, I think, ending to the season. But I want to say I'm just going to go 50-50. I think Arizona can punch in the mouth. I think Kyler Murray has had fantastic moments in the season.
Give him a 50-50 chance, huh?
And then I don't know how I just don't know how Freddie Kitchens would play. I know what I'm getting from this team now. They built up from the Seattle game, and they look better and better each week. Penalties are being limited. Baker hasn't had a turnover in 3 weeks. He hasn't had an interception in 3 weeks. Nick Chubb is securing the ball and holding on to the ball and running like a beast, like he has been since entering the league. We're finally getting OBJ his touches. What do you have? We talked about him having double digits targets. He had 10. I mentioned how when he has over 10 targets, we've only lost 1 or 2 games early on.
Yeah, you gotta give him
the most competitive games we've been in is when he had 10 or more targets.
Hell yeah.
So I'm gonna do it a 50-50 just because I don't know how
I'll take that.
How the coaching is gonna deal with Arizona and how they're gonna take the Baltimore game.
I'm gonna gauge you after the Dolphins game and see if that changes at all.
It shouldn't. Everyone's gonna be on the high horse. Like, oh yeah, Super Bowl, we're back, baby.
No context. The Dolphins are terrible. Real quick, a little piece of breaking news here, and I'll give you the context around this. Mason Rudolph will not press charges against Myles Garrett. I'll tell you why he's not gonna do that. Because he would have to fly back to Cleveland, take his own self to the police station to file what would be a misdemeanor charge, which is basically a speeding ticket. And he's not gonna do that. Like, He can't have any other person do it on his behalf. Can't have his agent do it. He can't have his mom. He can't have any of his siblings. Can't have any of his whiny teammates.
Frat boy homies.
Yeah, none of his frat boy homies can come down and file it for him. He would have to take his own butt down to Cleveland, sign all the paperwork, and he's just not going to do that.
And then it's looked at it from a logical standpoint. If you did that, you don't have the Browns' defense done for you in 2 weeks here. I mean, they're probably already doing that, but if you file a charge at a misdemeanor like that, they're definitely coming out for you.
I wouldn't say that, but I'd say it'd be pretty. It's almost honestly. I don't say it's petty.
I'm not gonna say it's like the Greg Williams like what am I thinking?
Bountygate?
The Bountygate, but they'll be going from like this locked in, be more focused than ever. You might see a few like shoulder checks out if he's trying to run and get out of bounds, but I think they'll take a few penalties just to sit on him on a big hit or something like that, just to say, hey, we remember what you did.
I'd like if you sat on the quarterback. That'd be funny. I'd endorse that.
Kind of like at the end of the game, they're trying to do a no huddle.
Quick pause. We were talking about this at lunch today. How cool would it have been if Myles Garrett, instead of hitting with the helmet, ripped his helmet off his head and then walked over to the dog pound and gave the dog pound his helmet? That'd have been epic. Can you believe that stuff? That's like taking the chain, but it's like, this is your leader type of deal. How epic would have that been? He'd been like, give me that helmet, you punk, and then walked over to dog pound like, y'all can have this. He don't need it no more because he's trash.
Always even a better scenario if Big Ben was healthy, and then he sat Big Ben at the end of the game, and then he whips it off and did it.
See, that's cool, but you're trying to steal my thunder, so I'm gonna go back to my scenario. What if an eagle came down, and took it out of Myles Garrett's hand, and then just flew into the sky, and we all yelled America? That's the scenario that I want to see happen.
We're doing a little bit out of
Thunder
hand.
is stolen back.
We're doing a little bit out of hand.
You're out of hand.
That about wraps up the Browns. we know that as long as we stay healthy and as long as Miami stays a train wreck, stays dysfunctional, that next week's will be a win, and the Browns will take it to 3 games.
And we'll get more excited about the next Steelers matchup.
In a row. But moving on to the Cavs a little bit.
Well, hey, real quick disclaimer. I know everyone likes to give us a hard time because we give Sexton a hard time. Today, we're not going to do any segments on Colin Sexton. We're going to avoid him completely. We're going to talk about something completely different about the Cavs. We're going to talk about the coaching on the Cavs versus the Heat. Because yesterday, I was at the Cavs game. They came out and they were a little bit flat. They got down by 15 in a hurry. They brought it back with some nice subs and motivation. They were down by 5. And then they immediately let it go back up to like 15 to 20. And then it was up to 22 at the half. It was as high as I want to say
27.
27 was the highest lead.
Point deficit. But going back to Colin Sexton a little bit,
going not back to Colin Sexton.
I want to one up you and say every Victory Monday we have, we would not talk about Colin Sexton.
Ooh, that's a nice little promise. Anyways, going back to the Cavs Heat game, Kevin Love could not get a whistle to save his life. Very upset about that.
Tristan Thompson disrespected constantly.
He does. Tristan Thompson
if that was Minnesota, Kevin Love, that would never happen.
No, Tristan Thompson got bodied by what's his face, the big lanky dude.
Bam Adebayo.
Adebayo, like
he's a dog.
And Leonard had a lock on
Miles Leonard.
Yeah, he actually had a really good game. He was talking so much, like he would not shut the heck up. Like all he was doing is talking to the Cavs assistant coaches, to the refs. Like the dude wouldn't shut up.
Probably got the mentality from in Portland. But I have to give credit to Miami and Eric Spoelstra. They were a very well coached team. They play extremely hard on defense, and what surprised me the most is their strong offensive play, coming out of the gate ready and just on fire.
I knew the team was really strong offensively, but I didn't know they were that physical. Like I was a few rows from the court. The physicality was like it was way overmatched. Cavs were way overmatched physically. They were starting their offense out way too far, and they weren't getting any penetration. And when they got penetration, Adebayo was just swatting things, and it was like they were moving the Cavs, and we didn't actually come back till we stopped letting them bully us around. And I was talking about it during halftime. I go, man, like Beeline better be like, you guys better man up. Like they just got pounded for the first half. Like I saw Jetty get like sandwiched like 3 or 4 times. That looked real painful. Like, and it wasn't like illegal stuff. He just got like popped like 3 or 4 times from screens, from good defensive slides, from like running through picks
and contests.
Yeah, it was just really physical. The other thing they did is they picked on Garland a lot against him. They ran him through screens like every possession for like the first 10 possessions of the third quarter. It was brutal. He was getting like he was like getting popped in the shoulder and the hip every single time. One of the things I will say about this game, and this is the positive from getting your ass kicked for a little bit, is they had a timeout. Beeline was fired up. And I'm pretty sure they just gave Garland the green light.
He had multiple timeouts because you couldn't figure things out.
No,
early in the first half.
But Garland had a massive third quarter, and he went off for I want to say it was like 11 straight points. The dude got locked in. He started pulling, and it was awesome.
Well, he started pulling shots, and that was part of what we had out of the gate. That was the problem. We had people not taking their shots. We had Kevin Porter Jr. not taking open threes. And trying to squeeze into the paint a little bit, and then once they met Bam Adebayo inside, they're like, okay, and Miles Leonard, like, okay, we have to take those shots, we can't penetrate inside and get whatever we want. And once we saw, like I said, he started taking shots, once Garland started taking shots, we got back in it.
Yeah, we did, and then when we finally found a good lineup that worked, they put Nance in the lineup. He played extremely well. It was probably the best game I've seen out of Nance all season. I mean, he honestly was that good. He was active with his hands. He had 3 steals. He was rebounding very hard, and then he was attacking the rim and finishing, which was excellent to see.
He played hard and he played decisive. He played with a personality, I'd probably say, and that's the thing that I've always said I've missed with Larry Nance Jr. He's always been a little off. It looks like he doesn't try enough, and he doesn't really have personality to his game. So it's good to see him start to have that game a little bit.
He was very engaged. He was absolutely engaged, and he messed his hand up a couple times, and it was like, man, that sucks because he was having a really good game. He actually didn't play the rest of the way after he had a really nice dunk in traffic. He messed his thumb and I don't want to say his index finger.
Might have hyperextended.
It looked not fun, but he made a nice dunk in traffic to actually send him into the locker room. The last thing I really want to talk about with this game is you grew more, and we talked about Garland. Porter came in and played very nice.
He's underrated.
He had a super good feel for the game. He was dominating defensively. When he was in there, they could not get by him.
He was guarding Jimmy Butler.
He was so disciplined. Like there was 4 or 5 times with like he would close out. A defender would pump fake, and he was cemented and not falling.
I think it's a little ironic, considering he's been that undisciplined player, or he's known as that, like off the court. But to see him disciplined on the court is great to see. He
had such a great feel for the game. They were giving him the outlet passes, and he just like it. Oh my god, it was so smooth.
He's a natural.
He was rocking with the ball. He had defenders off balance. I mean, when he's gonna go look in the film, he's going to say, okay, I had probably 5 or 6 really excellent offensive plays. Really excellent plays. And then I probably had 3 or 4 ones where I had started off it really well. I got my defender off balance. I created space.
And he didn't take the shot.
And then I didn't take the shot, yeah.
Yeah, he tried to work inside a little bit too much. He tried to be a little bit too greedy with his position, like what the defense was giving him, and he'll learn from that.
He, as an ISO player, could be one of those guys that you develop into your game closer because he can ISO. Man, that guy can ISO and he does it with confidence.
Well, he ended the game, right? He finished the game on the court.
Yeah, they finished the game on the court.
That's the first time he did that this season.
It was a weird lineup, but it worked really well, and I thought that was cool because when you play these games, sometimes you find things you wouldn't normally find because you're making little adjustments, and they found a really cool lineup. The lineup was weird. Okay, it was Kevin Love, it was Jetty Osman, it was Kevin Porter Jr., it was
Clarkson and Dellavedova.
And Dellavedova, yeah. What a weird lineup.
The weakest link is Dellavedova just because the athleticism in that game.
But on the flip side, you have a great court leader and a guy who's reading the floor very well.
Which is why it was in that lineup.
Which is why it worked out, because you use Delly to off-balance the weaker defense on Clarkson and maybe Love in the post, but you get a guy who gets everyone connected on both sides of the court and gets people into the spots they need to be in, and that's what we saw. That's what we saw from the from John Beilein. You found something kind of cool, and you found a lineup that maybe you can use going forward. And I really enjoyed that piece of the game. I really enjoyed the comeback they had. The Cavs were very involved, very emotional with it. They just couldn't get over the hump. They missed shots when they had open opportunities. And it's hard to come back from 27 and still have a chance to win. But they were able to come back pretty hard, and they just couldn't close it out. But I think they're going to take that energy back to the game on Sunday versus the Sixers, who they lost to on a last-second shot the other day when they played in Philadelphia. So it's a rematch game, 3 o'clock on Sunday. Very excited for this one. I'm going to be locked into this one because I think the Cavs grew a lot over the last couple weeks here, and especially off of some of the stuff they found against the Heat. I think they can bring that into the game against the Sixers.
Well, there's a few nice things to look at with the Sixers games. We have a few nights rest. They don't play until Sunday.
Yeah.
Garland is finally figuring out his role on the offense.
Yep.
What he's allowed to take, what his teammates and what his coaches are cool with him and want him to take on offense. And you have John Beeline figuring out what lineups work with who.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna be locked in this game against the Sixers. Very excited for it.
And Al Horford will be back probably.
Yeah, he probably will be back because they know that they can't clown the Cavs and rest him again. Okay, so getting kind of towards the end here of things. We talked about the Cavs. We talked about the Browns here. We have our fan questions. We got some fan questions from both Facebook and Instagram. We appreciate everybody who submitted questions. Like we said on our posts, we do answer all the questions we get, so we're happy to answer these questions. I know soon here they're going to be so overflowed we're not going to answer all of them, but we're going to answer them all the questions up until we can't. So keep shooting us your questions. All right, so I got one here from Matthew Mueller 1 on Instagram. He says, "What's going to happen with our defense?"
Falling to Browns, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think obviously you're gonna do the next man up. Like I said, next man up. You're gonna slide Vernon to the left. You're gonna bring Chad Thomas back on the right, like he's been playing with Vernon out, and then you're gonna have to do some rotational stuff.
You have to do some more blitzes.
Yeah, you're gonna have to know that you don't have that same game breaker, so you're gonna have to bring in some other blitz packages. Schobert had some really nice rushes on Mason last night, and then you had some nice combo blitzes there. So I think you're gonna do more of that now, and you're gonna have to disguise the blitzes a little more because you're not gonna get that consistent like 4-man rush with just Myles Garrett.
And you have to be a little bit more strategic with your blitzes. I think we are playing. I think 5 out of the last 6 last 6 games here. We're playing young quarterbacks. So if you can fool them into thinking we're blitzing, and mess up your coverages, and throw off what he thinks he has and what he doesn't, then your defense is to be more opportunistic. And you're gonna be able to dictate the quarterback more with Myles Garrett out.
All right, next question I got here. D-line moving on with Myles. It's kind of like the same thing. Like we said, I think we'll be fine. We're not going to get the same amount of quarterback pressures or big play up opportunities, but I think the rest of the team will have to step up. And even though you don't gain anything by Myles being out, sometimes you do gain some team cohesiveness,
an edge,
and you bring a little edge, and you bring a little bit more tenacity. And you can rise up from adversity. That's what the Browns organization really needs to do. Is they need to figure out how to make these things like last night and turn it into something you can use as fuel for the rest of the season and something you can learn from and get better as an organization. Because remember, this Browns organization we're not one of the the solid organizations out there. We're still developing our culture and how we react to these type of things. And in the future, if you build your team up. And you continue to grow, this won't even be something that will happen in the future because you'll learn from this instance and you'll get better.
Moving on, let's flip a little bit here. Kevin Sawyers on Facebook says, "How did Rudolph get off with nothing before he got bopped? He was absolutely going after Myles."
Well, he hasn't got away with nothing yet, so maybe he'll get a fine. I kind of doubt he'll get a suspension, but he'll probably get fined, which is fine because, like I said, we want to go after him again in a football manner. When we play him the second time here in a couple weeks. So, honestly, I hope they leave him in there. I hope he's still their quarterback because I can't wait for us to get after him.
I honestly hope I'd rather see the team discipline him rather than the NFL in this case.
He just sounds like a chump, man. I'm not a fan. You could have taken it one or two ways, and you sound like a smug chump. Like you could have been on a high road after in the press conference, and you just sound like a dummy.
Yeah, he kind of just played the victim card a little bit when he definitely instigated it. There definitely fault on both sides, and we don't condone either behaviors. Moving on to Zachary Martin, he says, "Do you think the Browns have a realistic shot to make the playoffs? Seventh or eighth seed."
Oh, Zachary Martin, you've been listening to the Cavs.
Watching some Cavs
basketball. Listening to the podcast. I know Zach's been listening, obviously, because he knows that I am a big believer in the Cavs getting a 7th or 8th seed. I think it's totally possible. I think you have the talent, you have the coaching. And I think it's a matter of what you're going to do with the trade deadline as far as pushing it to the next level or kind of taking the back seat in the season and letting it slide to the next. But you have plenty of time to develop that. The Cavs are only getting better. I haven't seen any regressions yet. I'm only seeing positive right now. And you're developing these rookies. Wait till we get back Windler. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be really fun. So I'm still a believer in that. Zach, I believe that you're on to something there. I think it's definitely possible. So keep your Cavs faith up.
Yeah, I think we have everything in place to get to playoffs. I think we have the vets there. I think we have the potential with the young guys. And we'll just see how they progress and get better.
Okay, so going back to Instagram here, I got Ben Zupan asking why the media blew the Miles situation out of proportion. Okay, here's what happened. So if it's on a regular Sunday game on a 1:00 showing, you're not really going to get the same type of like blowback because it was national television. This type of incident is going to actually show up on other networks that don't normally show sports, like Good Morning America, Fox News. It's going to go a little further because it's a nationally televised game, so it wasn't necessarily blown out of proportion. It's just you have more eyes on the situation. It probably would have snuck a little bit under the radar or would have been less publicized. It would have happened during a 1:00 game because it would have gotten a little further buried down the road there.
I don't know if I agree there. I think
everyone's watching it. It's Thursday Night Football, dude.
Okay, no, I agree with
context,
I agree with the overall volume of reporters and stations and accounts that were on the game. But I don't agree that it was slipped underneath the radar based off the timing of the game.
Slipped on the radar, but it would have been less publicized.
I think it was bigger in any sense, but on a 1:00 game or anything like that, because he Miles did the unwritten rule of thumb in sports. Like, you don't use in baseball, you don't use your bat in a fight, and in football you don't use your helmet in a fight.
Hockey,
you don't use your cleat or your stick or your hockey stick in a fight. And I think
you use your hockey stick in a fight.
Okay. Wait, your blade. You don't
take off your.
You have to take off your.
Because you could kill somebody with your blade.
Yes. So I think
basically a knife.
I think yes. I think he did the unmentionable, and that's why I think it blew up so badly. But moving on, you have another Instagram question there.
Okay. Felix F03 says, "I see why Miles is suspended, and I agree to it, but center is kicking him in the ground, and he only gets 3 games." Yeah, because again, he kicked him, he punched him, but he didn't use his helmet. So, ultimately, 3 games sounds pretty legitimate to me. It's fighting. It's still a lot of games in the NFL. That's still 3 paychecks he's not getting. It's still 3 games that the Steelers won't have a starting center for. So, that's good for me. I'm going.
And he's a footballer.
3 games, 3 losses is all it takes for the Steelers to not make the playoffs too. So, it's plenty of a beatdown.
A window.
I mean, your center is important. Don't get it twisted. Like, you need a good center, and you also need a good quarterback. And currently, they don't have either of those right now. So.
Moving on, Chris Walk on Facebook says, "Why is Aaron Goldhammer on Cleveland Radio?"
Okay, so we're gonna do one thing here real quick, and we're just gonna address it real quick. We're not gonna talk badly about any other people who are in the media groups or in the different sections of the media who are within the Cleveland media. People have their own opinions. They have their own things they want to say. And you can listen to who you want to listen. And it happens to be that we are also have a podcast. So you can listen to our podcast and not listen to a person you don't like, and everything will just be fine. So just want to subscribe to Everything Is Earned. We're on iTunes and on Spotify.
And everywhere you can think of.
Yeah, all those places you find your podcast. So problem solved over there, buddy. We got you figured out.
Scott Ivy asked, "Why did the white kid not get suspended?"
The white kid? You're probably referring to the quarterback,
Mason Rudolph. Yes.
Yeah, we're just gonna say that you should just listen to the first part of the podcast, and that maybe it's a racial bias thing. I'm not gonna speculate that's what it is, but maybe it's because he he played it up like a big deal, and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" And also he got hit in the head, and it wasn't wonderful that he got hit in the head. So I don't know. Ultimately, I think
let the beginning portion of a podcast answer that one. We kind of already went into that.
All right, very last question I have. Oh my gosh, where the frick is Higgins? This is by Leno Ninja.
Ninja. It's by Ninja.
By Ninja. Where the frick is Higgins? I don't know. Where is the frick is Higgins? Did he play yesterday? He played yesterday.
Was active. He kind of played.
How many catches did he have?
He had 0 catches on 0 targets. He was active. I know that, but you did have Jadale Hodge with a big reception. He had a 41-yard reception by Baker.
Are you ready to get mad at me again, real quick? You know, I said we were phasing out Higgins. It's still happening. We're still phasing out Higgins. They're going to put in Kadero Hodge, or they're going to put in Derek Johnson,
or
that boy who's on IR, who's an animal. Remember that big boy?
You're talking about Deonis Johnson.
Deonis Johnson.
I like Deonis Johnson. But
that's a running back.
He's a running back.
No, not Deonis Johnson. I'm talking about a wide receiver, bro. I'm talking about that big boy who's on the IR.
Oh, you're talking about Derek Willis.
Derek Willis. I'm talking about Derek Willis.
Is he back?
They're
not bad yet.
They're opting, and plus the new wide receiver class coming out of college is stacked as heck. So they're not going to pay Higgins. They obviously don't have Callaway anymore because he got released.
It's a bum
because he got 10-game suspension. But so they're still phasing out Higgins.
So Hodge will play over him.
That's where the fricky is.
Hodge will play over him, and then I think Stephen Carlson after that huge Moss catch in the end zone.
They played Higgins last week because they had to make an example out of Callaway, and then now he's right back to being not part of the game plan.
Yep.
So.
That was your last question. I have one more by Amber on Twitter. She said
Amber's here for all the questions.
I think she's asked a question on every episode of our podcast.
She's very active.
Yeah,
she's very active.
Shout out to Amber.
Shout out to Amber.
But she asked, can the backcourt of Garland and Sexton lead the Cavs back to the playoffs?
Oh, she's trying to make us break our rule. We're just gonna say that they have a lot of potential together. I really like what both their abilities are as far as athletic ability. I think Garland continue to be aggressive. Will definitely elevate the Cavs' offense. I think Sexton, if he can continue to be patient with the ball and to move the offense and continue to swing the ball, they'll be just fine.
And I will say on the more realistic side of, we saw in Miami game the potential struggles with the defense of the backcourt. You have Garland, who's a below average defender, and as well as Sexton. So that will be the only thing I think keeping them besides some maybe egotistical issues on more towards Sexton's side. But we'll stay out of that. There's a lot of potential of this young duo to help lead the Cavs to the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think Garland's going to play on the Browns anytime soon.
I don't think so.
Unless they need more defensive linemen.
Or a wide receiver.
Yeah,
or more wide receivers to put in place of Higgins.
Correct. That too. If they want to put someone else in his place, don't worry. I think Garland and Sexton are available for that. All right, so that's about wrap things up here for today's episode. Really appreciate everybody who continues to follow us on the social media, who've been listening to the podcast. If you guys like this podcast, please like and subscribe to it. Give us 5 stars. It really helps us out. It really helps move the needle, or the chopsticks, as we say here at Everything Cleveland. We want to continue to grow and bring you guys awesome stuff about the Cleveland sports. Appreciate my alpha co-host here for letting me not talk about sex in this episode, because I know it's really difficult, and we just have all the things to say about it. Lastly, we want to thank all of our new listeners who just jumped on the podcast game and want to know more about what's happening in Cleveland sports. So very much welcome, and thank you for tuning in and listening. So my name is Mike here. I'm the co-host.
I'm Tim, the alpha host.
And this is Everything Cleveland. And remember, in Cleveland, everything is earned.